Hey guys, how's it going? This is AJ or Crunchbox here, welcome back to another video. So today, I'm pretty sick right now, I apologise, I have no energy whatsoever. I've just made 2 videos in a row, and this is my 3rd, okay? So I apologise if the audio is, I don't know, somewhat off-putting because of my illness, but either way guys, today I have a life story for you guys, and this one is actually quite dark. It's not the most entertaining, but I guess you can take some sort of like tips from it, and I can give you some advice on it because it was a long time ago. I in no way encourage any of this to happen or for anyone to do this type of stuff, but it was a long time ago and it's a one-time thing. So I thought, you know, it's nothing I do on a daily basis or have done for years, so I thought I'd share it with you guys today. In the background we have some Black Ops 3 gameplay. My Elgato, I'm not too sure if it's broken, but got this gameplay, I think it's 36 and 6, so if it's not in the background, my Elgato is pissed, it doesn't work, but if it is in the background then you know it's all a-okay. So today guys, like I said, we have a life story which is pretty dark. So this is when I got peer pressured into self-harming, and there's a whole nother level to this video which I'll get into around halfway through it, but it was, like I said, a really long time ago. I don't encourage this or anything like that. I don't want you guys to do this if you're stressed or depressed or anything like that, you know. Just channel your emotions into something else. Like for me, I make videos, that's the only thing I really have which is mine, and that's what I do every single day. It keeps me busy, keeps me on my toes, you know, trying to always do different goals and achieve different things. But for you guys, you know, just find something you like. If it's sports, if it's exercise, if it's, you know, going shopping or doing stuff with your friends or even just work, anything like that, schoolwork, who knows, there could be plenty of things you guys like to do, but I really don't advise self-harming for depression or trying to cure that type of stuff. If you guys do it, I'm not saying I have beef with you, I have, like, obviously no sort of intention of offending anyone or anything like that, but seriously, you know, in my opinion, it just isn't a great thing to do because you're hurting yourself, because you're stressed about probably something which is to do with like someone else but it's affecting you. So think about it in the big picture. Do you want those scars forever? You know, do you want that to always be your method of getting over things? Probably not, but then again, what do I really know about it? Everyone is different, so like I said, it's down to you guys, and I'm not here to sort of like give you a lecture on that or anything like that, because everyone does what they want, everyone does what they think is right for them. So like I said, in no way is this a lecture on that stuff, but let's go ahead and get into the story. So this was going back when I was around year 8 or year 9, so I was probably around 14, 15 years old, probably 14 actually, and it was the summer. We hadn't finished school at the time, we were about to finish I think in a few weeks or something like that, so it was around June, I can't remember what year exactly, but like I said, around 14 years old, so around 5 years ago, there we go, and it was, like I said, near summer, so really hot outside. Every day after school, me, my brother and my sister, we would all go and hang out with some people from around the neighbourhood. We were all like pretty close friends, so every evening after school, we'd like just go straight out and just chill till like 9 PM, then go in when it started to get dark and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. We used to play like a bunch of games like Kirby and all this stuff. If you guys like want stories on that, let me know because I've got so many of those. Funny ones as well, so that'll be more of an uplifting video, I guess. So there was this one guy that we used to hang around with, and he started self-harming for no reason whatsoever. It was just, I guess, a trend going around at school, which honestly is really stupid because that should never be a trend ever, in my opinion, because it's just wrong, you know, for a trend. So yeah, he pretty much started cutting himself, and he came back, and it was all up his arm. This is the craziest part. I said to him, I was like, do your parents not care about it? You know, what do they think when they see it? And he was just like, oh yeah, I told them I fell in the holly bush. He told them he fell in a holly bush, and they believed it. They believed everything he said. There is no way straight lines up your arm, literally from the wrist where your hand is all the way up to like before your elbow, obviously on the inside of your arm. There is no way dead straight lines all the way up there are caused from a holly bush. So I guess his parents, you know, they just knew what he was doing, and they thought, you know, let him deal with it himself. I honestly don't know. If my kid did that, I don't have a kid, I'm just saying, if my kid did that, you know, you would try everything you had to try and stop it. But either way, you know, he had that, and I was like, okay. So I was just like, well, that's a bit weird, but anyway. And then he was like, I have this blade, and I was just like, okay. And he took it out, and it was like, you know, like a sharpener. It was the blade of a sharpener, but he like obviously smashed open the sharpener and pulled out the blade. And he was like, do you want to do it? And I was just like, no way, man. Like, why would I do that? My brother and sister was there as well. So 5 years ago, I was about 14 years old. My sister would have been around 11 years old, and my brother probably around 7, something like that. I don't know exactly, but something around that age. That's how old we would have been. And I'm not going to do this in front of my 7-year-old brother. My sister, you know, she's old enough to understand that stuff. My brother, man, 7 years old, maybe even 6. That just isn't going to happen. And it got to the point where he was physically peer pressuring all of us to do it. It was just him, me, my brother, and my sister. His sister wasn't there. No one else was there. Just us guys there. And yeah, he was like, come on, just do it. It doesn't hurt. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, you know. It kept going on for ages and ages. I know this shouldn't happen. You really shouldn't give in to peer pressure regardless of, you know, what people think. But I did it, okay? I did it, one scratch on my arm, and that was it. Not because I was depressed, not because I wanted to use it as some sort of, you know, get away from my emotions, just because he wasn't going to stop until I did it. So I was like, okay, I did it. It was fine, didn't hurt, nothing happened of it, it was just a scratch. Fine, done. Then, this was the worst part. He then gave the blade to my brother and my sister, and that was because they did it as well, because they obviously saw that I did it, and that's just the worst thing ever, because it was just horrible. The fact that, you know, I was there, and I didn't stop it. That's probably the worst part. But then this leads into an even bigger story, because the police got involved, because the guy who obviously got us to do it, he had to go to the doctors to get injections and all this stuff because they found out that we were all sharing blades. I guess one of the people around the neighbourhood saw or something like that. They reported it to the police came round. There's already 2 policemen that live down my road already. One of them came to my door and he was like, did you do this? Did you share it? And I was like, no, none of us did it. And obviously we did do it. And as soon as they went, you know, as soon as the police went, we told my parents, we were just like, yeah, we did it, but, you know, we didn't want to make a big thing of it, and then I guess that just disappointed them in all, because, you know, it's just like, we lied to them completely, but it's just, you know, it's when you're that age, the thought of the police coming around, you have to go and get injections and shots for, like, you know, just all this stuff, you know, it's just not really what you want to go through, so I avoided it. I had like a light scratch on my arm, but they had literally nothing, so there was nothing on them. But apart from that, you know, it was pretty much, it ended there. He had to go and get injections to make sure that he wasn't infected, because obviously we shared blade, and no blood was drawn on mine, but I guess if he didn't clean it or whatever, all that stuff. So, you know, hopefully this inspires you and gives you some sort of, I don't know, reason to not do it, because you never know what could happen. Someone might have, you know, used the same blade, or you just don't know, okay? So at the end of the day, guys, always try and find something else to resolve your issues. Don't go and do this. Don't be stupid like we were. Don't give in to peer pressure, because at the end of the day, it really isn't worth it. So that's my story for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you have, like always, chuck it a massive thumbs up. Let me know down below if you want to see any other stories like this, because I have plenty of them, and I'll see you guys in the next one.